Welcome back for another video. From this Friday's deadline, there's 7 deadlines over a 1 month period. We're heading into one of the funnest parts of the season for me. In this one, I'll be running through my team, my thoughts for Gameweek 13 and my transfer plans. Starting with a review of last Gameweek first. 78 points all out, which was a much needed bump up the rankings to 494k. Another excellent transfer, having swapped Johnson out for Saka, who did go on to get a goal and assist and take all 3 bonus points. Johnson was benched for Spurs as well, surprisingly, though he did score off the bench, so a 7-point gain on that move. A double Arsenal clean sheet as well with Raya and Gabriel, who conceded just 0.33 expected goals, which was by far the best of all teams. Captain Salah with a brace as well. It's unbelievable just how swingy owning Haaland over Salah's been for those of you on that setup. Another blank from Haaland, though he did have plenty of chances, and he just scored a brace in the Champions League. The top scoring player was Cunha, who I was delighted to own. He got 2 goals and an assist. What a season he's having so far. He's only 9 points behind Haaland now as the second top scoring forward. 43 points over the last 4 game weeks, which only Salah can beat with 46. Now, I'm sure you've noticed a disaster on my bench, Pedro Porro. I've been reflecting on that one, and whether it was a mistake or unlucky, putting hindsight aside. With Romero and Van der Ven out, I just couldn't imagine a world where they keep a clean sheet at the Etihad. So with that logic, an attacking return would be needed from him. In the end, I got that completely wrong, as they didn't just keep a clean sheet, but Porro scored for a 14-pointer, and obviously Lewis's 0-pointer stinking up the starting 11. Perhaps I should have just hedged it. I remember the comments were quite divided when I asked in last week's video. And either way, Porro is much more attacking than Lewis, so maybe that should have been considered more. I can't complain though after a decent week. So how did you all get on? Let's have a look at your masterclasses and disaster classes sent in. Some amazing ones this week. JCAWA1 says, unbelievable, I think I might be the biggest twat. Only Gabriel has a return. Also my bench scored lower than my team by 2 points, 500k to 1.4 mil. He finished on 26 points, and it's honestly not a bad team, but as he says, Gabriel's clean sheet is only a return. Cunha on the bench is brutal as well. SP took a -8 hit and finished on an absurd 107 points, obviously 99 after the -8, which was a rank rise from 2.1 million to 600k. A week where all the stars aligned here, even getting Mikalenko's clean sheet auto subbed on. The highest score sent in goes to Beth this week. She got 102 points, with returns from Fleck and Saka, Salah, Joao Pedro, Jackson and Cunha. 40 points from the front 3 alone is wild. Carbonero finished on 24 points and said, I don't know why I had such faith in Smith Rowe and Rodgers. Much like the earlier team, Gabriel's clean sheet the only return. Cunha and Porro's 30 points combined on the bench as well. Not a bad team on paper. You'll bounce back next week. Alex says, absolute bench and disaster class with Cunha, Vandenberg and Mikalenko benched. And another one, Sabir says, I benched Cunha for Isak, who I got for Solanke for a -4, and I benched Pedro Porro for Robinson, and I also sold Maddison for a -4. Kerry absolutely nailed the transfers and says, my first entry for Masterclass, sold McNeil, Rodgers and Haaland for Salah, Saka and Joao Pedro, resulting in a gain of 32 points. Last one, Sanju, who didn't quite get the biggest score, but the rank rise is unbelievable here. 97 points, and Sanju says, that was a green arrow from 55k to 4.8k. Now sitting just inside the top 5k at this stage of the season is absolutely amazing. Nice work. So let's move on to the next segment. Here's how I'm lined up for Gameweek 13. By the way, I've been sick the last few days, so sorry if you can hear it in my voice. Starting off in goal, and it's Raya who's got an away game to West Ham. You'll have to say, they really impressed me against Newcastle. If they show up with that fighting spirit again and desire, then I think this is going to be a really difficult fixture for Arsenal. Arsenal are actually second on the clean sheet probabilities this week, given a 42% chance. Man United just ahead of them with a 42.5% chance against Everton. My back 3 is Vardy, Gabriel and Pedro Porro. I've already conceded to Pedro Porro's inevitable 1-pointer after the whole last game week. It'd be so unsurprising to be honest. The news from early this week is Vicari's had ankle surgery, which isn't encouraging from a defensive perspective. Forster expected to come in between the sticks. Spurs were given a 29% chance on the clean sheet odds. I'm sort of stuck in limbo with Porro. He's not doing bad enough to sell, but he's not quite doing well enough to be happy with him. Obviously that would have been a different story had I played him against City of course, so I think I'll likely hold on to him long term, unless a transfer pops up at some point, where he looks like the most sensible way to free up funds. Vardy's 1.34 expected goal involvement over the last 4 game weeks is more than any defender. The thing is, I'm taking the same view of him that I did with Porro last game week. Clean sheet potential just seems incredibly low for this game, so I'm counting on an attacking return from him if I play him, which on paper also seems pretty unlikely. They've just let go of a 3-0 lead in the Champions League as well. At 74 minutes 3-0 up, and it finished 3-0 against Feyenoord. So I'm considering a defender transfer this week, more on that in a minute. An amazing midweek Champions League fixture for Arsenal though, who ended Sporting's 18-month unbeaten run at home, winning 5-1. Gabriel scoring off a corner as well, Saka with 1 goal 1 assist. Hopefully they can save some more of those points for Game Week 13. Now Gabriel did come off a bit early, and Arteta said it was due to discomfort. Sterling was set to come on, but he had to change the plan. I was watching the game and it happened around the 80th minute while he was sprinting, and he did flag to the bench. He did play him for a few minutes though, and Arsenal even scored a couple of minutes later before his sub in about the 84th minute. He didn't go down the tunnel, and he was seen cracking a laugh with Rice on the bench, so my feeling is that he's alright. Let's move on to the midfield, which is Palmer, Saka, and Mbeumo and Salah. Captaincy is such a tricky one this week. I've got 5 or 6 genuinely good options, which hopefully equates to lots of points either way. I've narrowed it down to Palmer and Salah, and I've gone with Palmer vice captain. Just 1 goal in his last 5, which is a bit concerning, albeit he has faced Arsenal, Man United, Newcastle and Liverpool in there, whereas Salah's got 6 goals, 2 assists over that same run. I'm going to remain patient with Palmer despite all the recent blanks. It feels like if I sell him in this upcoming run, it's got the potential to backfire big time. So it's Salah captain then. Over the last 3 game weeks, Man City's 6.84 expected goals conceded ranks worst in the league, which is unbelievable. 8 goals conceded is joint most, and a big chance conceded every 14.6 minutes, which is also worst. No wins in their last 5 games. Even San Marino have got more with 2 wins over that run. He's got a pretty good record against City as well, with 11 goal contributions in 14 games. And I don't recall ever seeing City's defence as vulnerable as right now over the years. Who have you gone with for captaincy? Leave a comment below. It could be Mbeumo's last week in the team. Even he's a shout for the armband this week, playing home to Leicester. He has been a bit quiet lately, 0.96 non-penalty XGI over the last 4 game weeks, and just 3 shots in the box over that spell. So yeah, as I say, it could be his last week in my team. I've got a call to make in Game Week 14 between buying Joao Pedro or go for Mbeumo out first. I was hoping to see Saka come off early in the Champions League, but he did play the full match against Sporting. Based on Arteta's comments about how Sterling was about to come on, but Gabriel's injury changed the plan, and it sounds like the intention was to bring Saka off for Sterling. A man of the match performance though, 1 goal 1 assist once again. On a side note, by the way, it's great to see Fabianski doing well with 2 clean sheets on the bounce. Never hurts to have a formal backup keeper that actually plays. Hopefully it's not 3 on the bounce this week however. Up front, it's Strand Larsen, Wood and Cunha. The slightly risky Wolves double up served me well last game week anyway, with 21 points between them. Wolves are home to Bournemouth this game week. Can they keep their hot streak going? Bournemouth have conceded 11 times on the road this season so far. My only regret recently was not buying Joao Pedro over Strand Larsen, so that was an oversight on my part. I wouldn't have played him against City however, so it's 7 points difference so far. That obviously could increase this weekend, or on Friday actually, when Brighton kick off against Southampton home. Let's see how Strand Larsen gets on Saturday. Cunha's still only 16.9% owned, while Strand Larsen's just 2.9% owned, so there's still some big rank upside with these guys. If it's not Mbeumo's last week in the team, then it's probably Wood's last week. I'm expecting him back in the starting 11 against Ipswich, which is a hell of a fixture. Ipswich's 16.93 expected goals conceded in away games is comfortably worse in the league, so I'd be very careful if you're looking to sell Wood now. Next worst is Leicester with 12.8 XGC in away games, so Ipswich are just over 4 XGC worst. So my bench is Fabianski, Semenyo, Greaves and Lewis. Fortunately, setting myself up with good depth has allowed me to field a decent team despite Semenyo's suspension. It saved me a benching headache as well, to be honest. I would very likely have benched Strand Larsen. So I've just got 1 free transfer and absolutely nothing in the bank. One option I have looked at is Strand Larsen to Joao Pedro. I've got exact money for this, and I will be priced out if he rises soon. Despite that, I'm looking at defender transfer instead, which is Lewis to Van Heck. Now, if we get a very promising update on Dunk, then he's tempting as well for a bit cheaper. It's a tight call between Vardy and Joao Pedro, or Van Heck and Strand Larsen. It's generally a good idea to fix the weak areas of your team first, and selling Strand Larsen's a pretty luxury move when he's home to Bournemouth, and it does leave me with Lewis stinking my team up. Double Man City defence just isn't it right now. And if I were to buy Joao Pedro for Strand Larsen and then look to sell Wood and Mbeumo in the following weeks, then Lewis is suddenly stuck in my team for much longer than I'd want. Further to that, I've got the option to play Van Heck in Game Week 15 against Leicester when Porro's got Chelsea, and Game Week 17 against West Ham when Porro's got Liverpool. So it's at least 3 game weeks in the next 5 where I'd play Van Heck. I like the Vardy depth first on the bench this week as well, just in case of any surprise players missing like Gabriel, maybe someone else. And Van Heck provides good depth as well in the weeks where he's not needed in the starting 11. Thanks very much for watching. Hit subscribe if you're not already, and like the video if you enjoyed it. Tomorrow we'll be dropping the experts video to look at what all the top managers are doing this week. See you soon for the next one.